Hank Hawker was an odd fellow by anyone's standards, but his tiny painted turtle named Myrtle was the creepiest thing about him without a doubt. Myrtle was no ordinary turtle. With her permanently wide-eyed stare and tendency to snap her little jaws at anything that moved, she had a certain unsettling presence. But Hank adored her. One stormy evening, Hank was hunched over Myrtle's little tank. He muttered, "Myrtle, we're going to find your mother tonight." Hank had recently become convinced that Myrtle's mother, a supposedly enormous turtle named Beatrice, was lurking somewhere nearby, watching them. While searching, Hank's flashlight flickered out, plunging them into darkness. As Hank smacked the flashlight to get it working again, he noticed a low, strange sound, like a soft, rhythmic splashing. His heart pounded, and Myrtle's little head poked out of his pocket, her eyes even wider than usual. Just as Hank got his flashlight back on, he spotted it. A pair of glinting eyes low to the ground and staring straight at him from the edge of the water. The figure moved slowly into the beam of his flashlight, revealing a massive, painted turtle bigger than any he'd ever seen, with algae draping from her shell and a beak-like mouth that twisted into what could almost be called a grin. "Beatrice?" Hank stammered, hardly believing his eyes. The turtle blinked, and in that moment Myrtle scrambled out of Hank's pocket, plopping onto the muddy ground with a tiny, indignant squeak. Myrtle and Beatrice stared at each other, an almost familial understanding passing between them. Hank watched in horror as Myrtle trundled after her, paddling into the swamp like she was born for it. Hank called out, "Myrtle, get back here!" But Myrtle just gave him one final look over her little turtle shoulder, as if to say, "Thanks, Hank, but I'm going home now." Going back to his house, he wondered if he'd ever really knew Myrtle at all. Every now and then he swears he hears tiny splashes in the swamp outside his window, just a reminder that Myrtle and Beatrice are still out there waiting to visit him when he least expects it.